The reason why I take a bit of a delay here is because then people get all their notifications saying that we've gone live.
Yeah.
Because one thing I loathe when I hear people say, "Can anybody see me? Is anybody there?"
Yeah.
Oh, funny, isn't it? Quite appropriate, really, I suppose. That's what we do.
Don't know what I'm saying.
Huh?
Don't know what I'm saying. It's going to pass out.
I'll just sit that up.
Over to you, Lee.
I'll just sit there, but I will bring up the fact that I move that way and it moves that way. It's quite weird. We can have a discussion.
Yeah, we're streaming to Facebook.
Talk about that for an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just look.
Good hour.
Little intro, bunch of hellos.
Yeah,
Who's into
hello
it?
to us, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
like being a picture.
Hello, hello. Shit, is it on? Is it on?
Is
this thing working?
Came out, didn't it?
And
What's that?
everybody told me about it as well. Everybody mentioned it to me.
Yes, they said about it to me. She was brilliant. It was really good.
Maybe it's our thing now. You got to do it each time.
Yeah.
CCTV.
No, I'm not.
What I'm just doing there is just switching on all the comments so I can see comments from YouTube and Facebook. So at the moment I know that's someone called Mark and Mary.
Okay, done it.
That's the two.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. Imagine that. That'd be over. My pride will be wounded.
I will play that video.
Play it all. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in again. Welcome to our relatively new show. It's the second show of the series In Search of the Paranormal. We're Southern Ghost Society. Some familiar faces for the people that watched last week, but for those that didn't, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Dan.
I'm Lee.
I'm Michael. I'm Andy.
And we're four members. Actually, sorry, we've got Heather behind the camera as well, who will be sort of looking at your comments and filling the comments out. So it'd be nice. If not, we'll send her around. We're Southern Ghost Society. You've got 4 or 5 members here of a large team, and this is our new show. So we want to welcome you to it. Really in its infancy. Last week we had a guest, and this week it's just us and talking about what we do. And we've been reading through your comments from last time as well, and a lot of people were sort of saying about bringing our evidence and our support and evidence to what we've been doing and where we go and so on. So tonight is going to be very much about that. We're going to be talking about us as a team, so who we are, where we started from, maybe sort of the first few experiences. I know we sort of touched on that a little bit last week. And then I'm going to introduce you to the team that we use and whereabouts they're from and their general experiences. And then what we do what we do, what we feel we do different in terms of an investigation team. Going to touch on the different sort of equipment we use and the different way we sort of set up, although we believe that's sort of in a show in itself.
Yeah,
so
light touch.
Yeah, so we're going to light touch about how we would set up and what you should expect when we're finally allowed to be investigating again, or certainly properly from a public point of view, and yeah, a little bit about us. And then we've recently visited Gloucester Prison, where it's our second time there. It's a really, really good, good venue, and we want to bring you our experiences of it. So for those that are tuning in for the first time or tuning in from last week, please follow us, like SPTV, along with our Southern Ghost Society page. We've got a website we're going to introduce to you as well, which we're revamping, and want to tell you a little bit about the benefits of that later as well. But like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, and make sure you sort of like and follow, and make sure you sort of interact with us really. We've sort of said this all the way through last week's show, that the show is for you, the show is about you, and so the show is about you, and we want to be as interactive as possible. We want to try and bring what you want to see. So say hellos, people that are watching, let us know who's watching, let us know where you are, and we'll give you some shout outs. So we've got Mary, hi Mary, with her Southern Ghost top on. So Mary's part of our team watching from home, so thanks for tuning in, Mary. Mark says you're live.
Thanks very much, Mark.
For those that were watching earlier, we were a little bit live sooner than we thought. Hello all, we got Catherine Simpson, thank you for tuning in. Not sure whether you watched last week, but yes, it's Mary again, different picture, so she's been changing her photos. Oh, okay, so watching on too, so yeah, thank you. Evening, Julie, thank you for tuning in. Hi Beth, how you doing? You threw us last week with Andy Guy saying hello, with Andy sitting next to us. We thought that was extremely paranormal, so we thought that was amazing. But Beth, thanks for tuning in. Donna, how you doing? Good evening to you. Heidi. Oh, the dramatic intro. Oh, I'm not sure whether you heard, at the beginning, but ever the professional here. Shelley, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Love the intro. Donna, brilliant, yeah. We've got to get better, haven't we, as a team.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie, you're right. Hi, Dee. Who else? We've got Marion. Hi, Marion. Thank you for tuning in. Sylvia, looking forward to the show. No pressure there then. Wendy, how you doing? Hi Annie, how you doing? You alright? Thanks for tuning in again. Claire, that's Alfie's friend Claire, who I was chatting to last night when we were at East Drive. Hey Claire, thanks for tuning in. Jacqueline from Loughborough. Julie, hi Julie. Keep your comments coming in, keep saying hello. Watching from Liverpool. Ah, okay.
Tell us where you're from, because that was amazing. Last week we had people,
hi Martin.
Not just all around the country, we had people from Canada, America, Australia. So yeah, tell us where you're from, guys.
We've got Jace. Hi Stace. Stace, that helps. We've got John Hammond, who's currently in quarantine. We've got Rihanna. How you doing?
I'm up,
Dunny.
Hi Dunny, how you doing? So it's nice to see sort of some familiar faces from last week. And obviously some of the team are mixed in there as well. But like we said before, this show's got to be about you guys, and we want to try. Hi Nick.
Right, Nick.
Welcome back. This show's got to be about you really. So keep sort of talking, keep asking us questions.
We had some great comments from last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we had some. There were some really, really good comments from last week, and what we've tried to do is, it's difficult. We get quite a lot of comments that come through. Vivian, sorry, I'm going to interrupt myself there, but Vivian's watching from her first time from London. You're welcome. We've got Martin from Dorset. So we're heading to Dorset soon, aren't we? We've got Dorchester Prison. That's that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Dorset.
And then the No Fort.
Yeah,
we're going to be going out to there as well soon. We're just about trying to arrange those.
Great venues.
Yeah, really good venues. But like I say, we do try and review as many comments as we can. We sort of sit there and scrutinise them. So one, be nice, but two, bring your suggestions forward. Let us know what you'd like to see on the show. I think the big theme was people saying, bring the evidence. You know, you sit there talking about your experiences, try and bring some evidence. And that's what we're going to be trying to do in the second half of the show. What we've done tonight is we haven't invited anyone on as a guest because we wanted it all to be about us, I guess.
And we need a bit of time to kind of go over some of that evidence as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think that what we're going to try and bring to you tonight is, like I say, a little bit about us, who you'll see. There we go. That's Dave Everett. It's we call you Dowsing Rod Dave, so they get some amazing activity on the Dowsing Rod. So
you're right.
Dave and his six crew that come with us.
Favourite Pompey fans.
They are the favourite Pompey fans, I reckon, yeah. They reckon I'm a secret Pompey fan, but that's another show and another story. But Yeah. I won't say what Richard just said in my ear, but so to start first off the show, we're going to be talking to you about the team and what we do, and a chance for you to ask us any questions. And quite a lot of them came back last week, but any questions you got? Hi from sunny Weymouth. That's where. Yeah, there we go. So
No fault.
no fault. There we go. We're coming to you soon.
Coventry.
Coventry, yep. We'll go Aberdeenshire as well, Scotland.
I think it'd be quite nice if people are from around the country as well. If they do have any locations that are local to them that they're interested in,
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah,
great to hear
yeah,
about those
certainly.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely say if someone's commented and they've been to a local venue that we may not have touched on or seen, then please do.
Thanks for watching, Mary.
So Mary, you normally usually got something to do at 8:30 on a Sunday. So we hopefully have taken over your Sunday nights now. You can cancel everything in your normal plans moving forward and just have us in your life. That'd be perfect. So what was the last one? We had Debbie. Sorry, I missed Debbie's comment. What was?
From Hereford.
Oh, Hereford. How you doing, Debbie from Hereford? So, and Jane from Leicester as well. Yep. And, yeah, no problem at all.
Julie. Hi, Julie.
And Julie from Stoke. So we're going to be moving on with the show and moving on what we're going to be doing. Like I say, we're going to be talking through about us and who we are and so on. But please feel free to get your questions through. Ask us anything you'd like to do, and anything you'd like to see from us, or any questions you may have. We'll do our best to answer as honestly and truthfully as possible.
Be a part of the show, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I
Get
think
involved.
It's nice, you know. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and listen to mainly me, I
You,
guess, talking for an hour, which I've got no problem with.
Please give us a break.
Yeah, thank you. So, Southern Ghost Society.
Well, I think we kind of, as a group, we kind of work as an investigation, similar to what we're trying to do here, is just get everyone involved in it.
Definitely. I certainly wouldn't expect someone. We're certainly not a team where you'd come onto one of our events and we're not dictatorial. We're not going to say you're doing this in this area, you're doing this. We very much generically work like the other teams do. So we put you into 3 teams depending on the venue size. We move you around 3 times. But really, like we said before, is we're a group of enthusiasts. We started in 2010 from paranormal experiences that I certainly had as a child, and different experiences that I couldn't explain, and then we were booked an investigation as a Christmas present. One, because I'm scared of my own shadow, so they thought it'd be funny. The family thought it'd be funny to lock me in a castle. They thought it was going to be longer than just one night, I guess. But lock me in a castle and test it. And we drove to Tutbury Castle in Derby, and we loved it. But what we didn't like about it was there was 50 other people with us, and it was in that moment driving back from a cold, snowy Derby. We got someone from Portugal. Welcome. Driving back from a snowy Derby just to investigate the castle in one of what they claim is the most haunted room in England. Is it Mary Queen of Scots? Was it Mary Queen of Scots? Yeah, Mary Queen of Scots room. And it felt oppressive, the room felt close, but there was also 20 people in there with me, and we were like this, shoulder to shoulder, and someone's going, "Did you feel that?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, that was your elbow." I wasn't sure whether it's paranormal. So it was on the way back to that, me and Lee trying to stay awake with coffee and sort of chatting and saying, and my dad at that stage was saying, we could do this, like...
With less people in this room?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. We could do this, and I suppose from that point, we did a few more investigations, and then we started Southern Ghost Society.
And if you think about it, I mean, this randomly crossed my mind earlier in the day. When there's just this table now, there's over 40 years worth of experience.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You know?
Annie just said that she got into the paranormal. Her last question there. She got into the paranormal from something that happened at 12 years old, and it was the same for me. Did I tell the story last week about the catapult? Did I tell you that?
No.
Okay, so back when I was younger, I used to do quite a lot of fishing, and my mum bought me a catapult. It's all relevant. Bear with me. It's a catapult. It was called the Black Widow, and it was almost a weapon. And my mum's always said to me, "There's no way you take this out the house at all, unless you're fishing." So
Shout out Markham Castle.
Oh, I love Markham Castle. We had a great night at Markham Castle. So anyway, doing what any 13-year-old boy would do, I picked up the catapult, I took it out, and I took it down to the front of Netley, in front of the castle, and I'm firing stones, not killing people, not knocking people with their bikes,
Just skimming them.
firing stones into the water. As I was firing stones, I turned round, and on the castle steps was a nurse, and she held a wicker basket with white linen in, and she had a red cross on her hat. And I looked at her and thought, oh crap, she's going to tell my mum. So didn't think it was paranormal. I buried the catapult in the stones and I ran. And it wasn't until I sort of got up the beach and thought, hang on a minute, there's no way that's a nursing home. There's no way you'd give half the people in there a fright if someone walked around
in a nurse's uniform. So I walked back, and as I walked back, I still remember to this day, when the nurse was standing, there's no door there anymore. So the door had been bricked up, so there's no way the nurse would have come through that door. But I remember as plain as day, and it was from that point, I thought, there's got to be something out there. So that was a young age, Annie, so I completely agree with you. And then we attended events. I'm missing quite a few questions, actually, aren't I, by talking about the
Yeah,
stuff,
but that's an interesting point as well, because some of the best experiences people have had, they've not realised they were paranormal until they've kind of thought about it, or something's happened to go, oh, actually, that wasn't a real person.
Definitely. And I didn't think at any stage at all it was paranormal. There wasn't any stage at all. It was, oh crap, my mum's going to kill me. And that was the point. That was the point. And then from there, I just started to watch. And then me and myself, we started to watch probably ages 17, 18, one that Most Haunted.
Yeah.
We started to get into that side of the thing. I know we touched on that quite a lot. And watching paranormal shows and scaring the hell out of ourselves, weren't we? And then, yeah, we went on events. So we started up Southern Ghost Site in 2010. And it was purely the Black Widow, Nasty Catapult. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we try to bury it.
Yeah, that's why I tried to bury it and not get arrested. Yes, from there we started Southern Ghost Society, and it literally it stayed the same from day one.
I think the way we started up was we weren't getting the chance to investigate the places how we wanted to investigate in smaller numbers, get a chance to do what we wanted to do rather than what we're told to do.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the reasons why I'm moving forward. We've kind of kept that all the way through, haven't we? And
Definitely.
It doesn't sound like it was
Smaller
very
numbers.
controlled either, do
Yeah,
it?
smaller numbers,
What's
you can
that?
get as involved or uninvolved as you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and you're free to use all the equipment we have. It's we always say we're there to facilitate your evening.
Yeah.
So smaller numbers, less interference, but you can get involved or just observe. It's up to you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what it was. It was a case of, in fairness, it didn't. I knew mine was something spooky. It scared the poo out of me. That's so well put, Annie. Thank you for being very diplomatic. We're going to watch some of our videos soon, and we've been less diplomatic on those. So I appreciate the way you've been. That's where it was born, and we always positioned ourselves as a group of enthusiasts. Yes, we've always positioned ourselves as a group of enthusiasts, and basically we're letting you share our hobby, and that's the way we do it. So we try and bring as little people as possible onto a venue that we find exciting, and a chance for you to share what we do. So I know we've got some questions in at the moment, so rather than me bleat on for another 3.5 hours, then so we've got some questions. So let's feed them out. So who takes this one? I want to read this one. So I believe in life.
I'll do it because you've been talking
Please
for a
do.
while.
I'll have a coffee. I'm going for a break.
So that's a very good question, actually, and it's one we tackle on most investigations, because for us, an intelligent activity is completely different to something which is happening whether people there or not. And I think we've experienced lots of examples of the residuals, certainly, and lesser so more the intelligent. There's definitely a difference between the two, but we can't figure out exactly why either of those
We try and
things.
tap into both, and I think like what Marion said in the question there. So I believe in life after life, spirit energy. Do you differentiate between ghosts and residual energy? It's something certain we look at all the time, and we try and look at the difference between a residual, and then we look at it. Is it intelligent? Is it responding to us? Have we said right, do this, and this happens? Or like my nurse I saw.
Yeah.
That there, she wasn't doing that for me.
She didn't register you with that?
She wasn't interested in the catapult. She didn't. I don't know whether she was even looking at me, but actually, I just caught her.
that would have happened if you weren't
Yeah,
there.
it's
if
like
you
a
were there
ticket
or
tape,
not.
isn't it? It's like that.
Stone tape.
Stone tape, yeah. So if you got so if people got questions, then please feel free to try and keep up with us as well once, and I'll sort of flip through them. But any experiences you want to share, any venues you want to shout out, any questions you got, then please feel free to keep bombarding.
Good question.
Great question. So we host a Zoom call as a team every other Wednesdays, or as much as we can, and we sort of chat amongst ourselves. We're almost like a group of friends now, as much as a group of investigators. So we talk. I actually speak to you, Andy. My wife made a comment today that I speak to you more than I speak to her. So so that's something we need to be addressing after the show. But no,
I'll move in.
Yes, move in. That's fine. But so for us, we need to make sure that when we do another event, it's safe and we're adhering to the rules. We've visited venues. I've had terms and conditions through from venues about how we're going to cope with COVID and what we're going to be doing. And the problem we got at the moment is from a public event side of things. There's a lot of hoops to jump through. So a lot of it, I went to see a venue in Portsmouth, and they are saying that we can come along. We have a certain amount of numbers. We are not allowed within 2 metre distance. They're still keeping to the 2 metre distance rule. It's one in the toilet. You know, it's I mean, not you want loads in the toilet, but it's one in the toilet. They're also saying that you go into the toilet, you go to the toilet, you clean the toilet, you wash your hands, and you clean the taps. And to actually be able to try and police all that is really, really hard. So we've sort of made a decision as a team that we've got an event in October on the 16th at Fort Widley. We've not released it yet, and that's sort of our earmark to try and get back into the market in terms of investigating. It gives
Testing it out.
Yeah, but that's all going to be sort of governed by the government, or a better word. But it's going to be governed
Exactly,
by
just
the
got to
rules
follow
we've
their
got.
guidelines.
It's really hard.
Like you've said, I mean, this is our hobby. I mean, and it is a hobby because I've never been paid.
We need to talk about that.
That's awkward.
It's just you.
But for us, when you come with us, regardless of whether we get any activity or not, we want you to have had a good time. We want you to be relaxed. I mean, a lot of people are nervous when they first come along. They might be getting dragged along by friends, whatever, and they're quite nervous. But, you know, they get into it and they do become relaxed. And we want you to be relaxed. We want you to enjoy yourself and feel comfortable. And at the moment, with all those restrictions that are being put on us, it's not really the best environment to have guests come along. So we'd rather, as a team, say, well, we'll just wait until we can do it the way we've always done it, and we can give you guys the best evening we can.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, one good point we were talking about last week was that if you have an event with, you know, even say 20 people, that's a lot of different households in one room.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And the rule is still sort of two households in there. That rule is, and so,
I mean, it is important on that subject. I mean, we've obviously got a responsibility as well, and we are part of a bubble.
Yeah.
This, you know, this.
Yeah, I'm living with Dan now.
Responsible, so.
But we are. We've sort of remained. You know, and when we do events, we social distance. We
put the masks on.
So what we've changed, in terms of us, we have done some private events, but we've done an event at some tunnels in Portsmouth, the D-Day tunnels. We've done in Gloucester, where we've turned up in separate cars. We've all got masks. We don't lay on any refreshments, so we're not sharing glasses or milk or tea or coffee.
We were setting up opposite ends of the room.
Yeah. So we're sort of setting up distantly. And do you know what? We find it difficult when we were at Gloucester Prison. We're going to show you some footage later on and sort of talk you through the night and how it's set up. There was 10 of us in that prison, and there was still times where we may have been a little bit too close to each other, or we may have been
difficult.
1 metre rather than 2, and that's 10. You know, on that venue, you know, it's an expensive venue to try and to bring to the public. You know, you're looking at probably spending between £40 and £70 on a ticket, depending on how many people you go and who you investigate with. It's difficult to try and police it.
And some of the things, say like working on a board,
Yeah.
you couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It'd be an interesting board, wouldn't it? You're all sort of like,
Yeah, a humongous board with sticks. Yeah.
And for us, and for us as a team as well, that'd be odd, wouldn't it? But for us as a team as well, when we go to places, we won't have boards. We wouldn't do that sort of. It's more about locking the building down, recording as much as we can, having voice recorders around and trying to capture as much as we can. That actually lends itself really well. That lends itself really well to lockdown investigation, because we're not near each other. But actually, when you get the team that want to do a board or do rods or want to be a bit more intimate in terms of their techniques.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it comes back to us not wanting to prescribe what people are doing, and if they want to do a board, then we don't want to say, no, you can't do it, because it's not safe.
So this is a question from Portugal, isn't it? So we are multi-dimensional beings having human experiences, yes.
Yeah, I personally believe in this.
Yeah,
I'm a believer in string theory as well.
Yeah.
So you could have a version of yourself operating at a slightly different frequency, and you're never aware of that other being, or many, many different frequencies. In fact, I've sometimes thought, is it possible when you're sitting there in a room and you're getting responses off equipment which detects that sort of energy, are you actually detecting yourself in another dimension?
Well, you've caught me.
In fact, several times we've caught each other's audio, as like someone's voice. So we were at Woodchester Mansion.
And bear in mind, I was in Southampton, so I was nowhere near.
3 people in
Gloucester.
Woodchester Mansion. So me, Beth, and Mary, and we heard Dan's voice. We recorded Dan's voice.
I reckon it rings in their ears. That's what it is. I talk.
don't
to
see
someone.
it.
It's still
Yeah,
bouncing
rings
around
in
the castle.
It's still vibrating around the castle.
Just don't like to miss out.
Yeah. Hi Charlotte, how you doing? So yeah, keep the questions coming. Yeah, keep finding out about us and from
South Africa, wow,
that's
thank
you.
amazing. You've definitely got the prize for the furthest location so far for us, I reckon.
Harry,
No, what?
Harry, find some venues we can come to.
Did we? We had Canada as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
Ashley,
Evening,
go on,
Ash.
Ash. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in.
Carrie,
So
find us some venues and we'll all come and stay with you.
Yeah, I'd love that. So, okay, have you seen a spirit and what happened? So,
Yes.
Go on.
Well, again, this was the example I will give you is at Nose Fort, and it kind of goes back to an earlier question as well, that it was our first time there, and kind of what really made it something more than just what I saw was that in the first session, I think you was with us in the first session, and we was in the cellars, and we could hear somebody running about upstairs. So I won't go into too much detail, but it was a long corridor above the cellar. We could hear somebody up there. We sent Dan to just go and ask politely, just to, keep the noise down a little bit. And you found Roger, who was another team leader at the time, and he had seen somebody in that corridor that wasn't a member of his team. Okay, fine. So that was a bit strange. And then you saw it in the middle session.
Yeah.
I was in that corridor, but unfortunately I was facing the other way, and you came out and said, I've just seen somebody go from, I think it was the ladies' room into the, I can't remember, it might have been dining room or something, opposite, and you'd seen this figure clear go across from one side of the corridor to the other. Okay, then at the end of the evening, and Simon used to get annoyed with me about this, because everybody else had gone to bed, you and Lee were live streaming from the ladies' room, and I was in the ballroom, which is one end
That's
of
a
the
drawing
corridor.
room, by the way. Just to clarify that.
Yeah. And
Oh, this is not
I-
Nose Fort, this is
Northwood
Northwood House.
House.
Northwood House.
Yes,
Did I say Northwood?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, no, Northwood House. And from the stairs, I saw a figure come out, clear as day. I mean, it was dark, but it was a perfect figure. And they kind of looked around, and I called out to them. Didn't take any notice of me, and they walked up the corridor, and I followed, lost them, and I spent a long time going around the building trying to see who was still up. And then 15 minutes later, same thing happened again, and I managed to keep up with the figure, didn't respond to me at all, and as soon as it turned the corner to the main entrance and you got the toilet blocks and that down there, nothing. Couldn't find it, just disappeared.
See, the interesting thing about that as well, it's a party house, wasn't it? So it was used late at night,
Yeah.
where people would be frequenting different
But
rooms.
at,
because that's what it
at the
used for.
time, I was sort of, I don't know, it was such, because you imagine that when you see a ghost it's going to be a see-through, it's going to be a grey lady, it's going to be cloudy. This was such a full figure, just dark, that, and so someone used to get annoyed with me because you just go, nobody was there, everybody else is in bed. And that, I think, was residual because it
Didn't care about you, did it?
yeah, well,
Oh, sorry about that.
that's harsh. But there was no interaction. It didn't respond to me at all. And I think that was just a repetition
You're
in
sorry.
time.
Totally agree. Totally
yeah.
agree, mate. Yeah, I agree with that.
But
we've
the
had
fact
that
that
a
it's
few
been
times.
seen by 3 team members throughout the night at different occasions kind of added to it, but I would say that was residual.
Definitely. Guys, if you're watching the show, keep giving your thumbs up and liking the show and sharing it for us, so we can get try and get to the audience far and wide. Keep getting your questions into us. So yeah, if you've got any questions for us, keep them coming in. Like I say, we're just sort of generally chatting tonight about ourselves and our experiences, without the need of trying to go over what we talked about last week as well. I'm really conscious that we did a little bit about it last week, didn't we?
Yeah,
So
Love
yeah.
it. Love it, Mark.
So what do we think of East Drive? What you mean where I slept last night? 30 East Drive. I think there's a whole show on 30 East Drive. I think we could speak for about an hour and a half on it. I think that we've got. I think I've said all the way through this, and we were live streaming a bit last night. 50% of the team think it's a fun house and a load of rubbish. 50% of the team have had activity they
But
can't.
that very
explain.
much goes on the experiences that people have had there.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, the night we had there was
Oh, wait,
full on.
let me-
We had some amazing EVPs.
From the minute we walked into the walked in the door.
Your name got called out, Lee, because you'd already been there, and
Yeah.
and yeah, we had an amazing night. But yeah, I love it.
It's up there.
I'd
It's
go
up
back.
there for me for venues.
And
Yeah.
you've got to get away from that
Okay.
whole. I think you've got to. I mean, there's a group on Facebook that says that East Drive exposed, and I read way too many of their stories, and it's all pros and cons. But we cannot deny that every time that we've been there, we've had some sort of activity. Even last night, for instance,
We had the REM pod going off in one of the rooms.
And a really good EVP as well. wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and a really strong EVP. So I'll give you a little bit of that now. I've not got the evidence tonight with me. We only finished. We only got back here, but
More later.
I watched most of last night, and the TV was weird. That was really
Oh, the
strange.
TV come on.
We still can't
Yeah,
answer
I
that.
saw
So
that.
oh
I
yeah, we
saw
didn't
that.
tell you about that as well. So if I go back to the EVP and then you tell about the TV as well, because I was upstairs, wasn't I? So
Yeah.
so with the EVP, we sat on the stairs and we were doing some general calling out, and I just got a feeling that everyone that goes in there, you're a black monk, you're a poltergeist, do this, throw this, you're that.
Chuck a knife.
So yeah, chuck a knife. I did get the knife out actually, but but I did. So I sort of sat at the top of the stairs and said, listen,
Wasn't pleased.
you need to. I want to try and talk to you. Do you believe that there's a poltergeist here? And we had no response. And then I asked the question, do you believe, is there a black monk here? And got no response. And then I asked the question, do you think that people come here and fake activity? And we have captured a man's voice that goes, yes. And we capture it.
Yeah.
We didn't hear it
Yeah.
real time, did we?
Didn't, yeah, it's like a yeah. We didn't hear it real time. You guys heard it sort of at home.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
then
quite clearly.
speaker, and we've caught it. And then we've not cleared it up. Otherwise, we'd have brought it to you tonight.
The weird thing was when you were playing back, you were sort of struggling to hear it, but
Yeah.
through the live stream, it was really clear.
Was it?
Well, I had a camera set up at the bottom of the stairs, filming up, and so when I got home, it's the first thing I did was watch that back, and it's not on there. So it came from upstairs.
yeah.
Nice.
It didn't come from down.
And
anywhere
Jason
around
was
there.
filming Lee, who was filming me. So we should have captured it as much as we can. But yeah. And then the TV. Heidi's brought up about the TV. Go on, explain.
Yeah, so we were just live streaming in the lounge and bit of calling out. You were upstairs on your own. You were being brave. You got sent up there, so
They voted me
it
to go
wasn't
up
your
on their own.
choice. But we, so we were just chatting away and a bit of calling out, and suddenly the TV just come on.
And in the lounge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came
And
up with
that's if I
a
remember right, that's
shutting
an
down
old
message.
TV.
No,
It
it's a new
flickered, then
TV
went off.
with an old
Oh,
cover on
okay.
it. It's got that
Oh,
old
right.
sort of thingy. So we had been watching it. So we had watched it, but then we switched it off to go live streaming. But it came on
But it's been off for hours
to tell
before
us
that.
it was going into standby. But it was off. It was off.
Yeah.
And we played around with it. We turned it off. We put it on standby. We checked the timer.
And
set
looking
the
back
timer.
on the footage as well, it wasn't on. It wasn't on standby.
No, it
There's a
didn't look like
standby
it was on.
red light on the TV when it is on standby, but it wasn't.
It just
There's
sort
no
of
red
came on.
light on the footage that I had previous.
So East Drive, we're going to do a show on East Drive, I reckon. We've got, I want to try and speak to other ghost groups that have been there. So anyone's watching that's been to East Drive, we're happy if you want to come on and tell us your experience. That'd be amazing. Or share it. But we're probably going to we're going to clump all our footage together, our videos and so on, and then do a show on that in later to come. So good question, Mark, but very controversial. So thank you.
Thanks,
for,
Heidi.
And thank you, Heidi, for watching last night as well. So and tuning in tonight, we've got some dedicated viewers now.
Yeah.
Cool. So we heard my niece's voice through a spirit box, and she was standing with us. We were recording it, and it definitely sounds like her. Do you know?
Right.
That's a
we've
good
heard
example,
that.
isn't it? Well,
Yeah.
from before. Where we're talking about being able to hear other people who are either there or not there.
So we were at Manor Farm, and I was so we were at Manor Farm, and Lee was downstairs, and I was upstairs, and brave again. See, that was being brave.
It's the other way around, but don't worry.
Was it? Anyway, so either one of us were being brave. I think it may be Lee, but so he was upstairs. So we were downstairs, and we heard the bird. It was a duck or something that squawked from the farm. So I said to Lee, "Did you hear that?" And then so I'm saying, and I said, "Lee," and as I'm calling out, he wasn't answering. And then all of a sudden, after about a 2 minute, well, probably about a minute break, you hear, "Yeah." And so I sort of sniggered to myself, thinking, that's a proper delay from like me calling out. So when I went upstairs, I went, "What was the delay?" And he went, "Oh, I heard you call out."
I thought you came upstairs without me hearing you, and you were in another room, called me.
Yeah.
But luckily, I was filming at the time, so
Brilliant.
watched the footage back, and the voice is whispered, like right next to me.
And it actually muffles the speaker, doesn't it?
It's like someone getting annoyed that I wasn't answering you.
Yeah.
Best ones I had through a spirit box, because you understand that it shouldn't happen. If you get because it goes through the station so fast, you shouldn't get a constant voice. You could get a word, you could
Two
fluke
syllables,
it
isn't it?
by different voices, even the voices might be different genders, and you could fluke a word, but it shouldn't happen single voice, because it's not going to stay on a station that long.
No.
And one of the best ones I had was at Manor Farm in the cottage on the, as you look at it on the left-hand side, and we had the spirit box going, and it was near the K2, and the K2 started going, and somebody said, in my group said, "Oh, do you think the K2 is going off because the spirit box is sending it off?" and through the spirit box, a voice came through, singular voice, probably not.
Wow. Cool. And it shouldn't be doing that, should it?
It shouldn't happen.
But yeah, but we've, like I said, we said about just before, that Andy's caught my voice at an investigation where I wasn't even there. So we believe it's definitely possible, isn't it? And you
It's
can
something.
hear,
It's either it is something like other dimensions to yourself, or it could be something intelligent, just kind of using that familiar voice to communicate with you,
yeah,
perhaps.
definitely.
Yeah. So it's not intended to be scary, more intended to be just kind of introductory.
So do you think it's sort of mimicking then? Do you think it's either mimicking? Do you reckon there's an element of playfulness there? Do you think could it-
Potentially. I mean, we've never heard anything which sounds like it's using a voice and saying something negative.
Well,
It nearly always is someone's name,
Yeah,
weirdly,
strange, isn't it?
or a yeah or a hello.
What we're going to do now?
hi, Trina.
Hi,
That's
Trina.
amazing.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Again,
Aloha.
you find some venues, we'll come.
Yeah, we're happy to come and see you.
Definitely, that's it. Next week.
What we're going to do, guys, is we're sort of half an hour through the show, and we've got some clips and some evidence to bring. We could talk about all us all night, and if the questions come on in, we can answer them as we go. But I think it's probably worth moving on to Gloucester Prison,
Yeah.
talking a bit
Yeah.
about Gloucester.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting to say that because it started off as a castle.
Oh yes, there
Yeah,
we
yeah,
go. That's why I did it. So yeah,
Seamlessly.
ever the professional. So Gloucester Prison. This is our second time of visiting Gloucester.
Yeah.
Gloucester Prison. It was a favourite, and we were able to go in there with just 10 of us. So we want to. There's a photo. We're supposed to bring up the photo. What do you
Yeah.
bring up
So
first?
what I thought we'd do is look at the map. Richard, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, we'll put the map on the screen, so we'll show you what we had to investigate. There we
So,
go.
so this here is Gloucester Prison, and you can see from here there's several different wings. Each one of those wings is fairly well isolated, and along with that there's a number of other buildings which are supporting those prison wings. And to cover up what we were talking about earlier about trying to capture footage from anywhere we can, but also to look to try and debunk things which could be in other areas of the building or outside the building. All the red dots are where we placed an audio recorder. So we went around the building, every place which we were likely to investigate or another sound could come from, there's an audio recorder placed, and including one that's completely outside the building, which was very useful that night because, as you'll probably hear in some of the clips later, there's a lot of seagulls. And they make
seagulls,
horrible noises,
yeah.
don't they? They sound like they're screaming
They were
and calling
nesting,
out.
weren't they? So they were protecting.
Yeah, they were
the
very
island.
protective.
Yeah.
So the external audio is really important to be able to go, that scream actually was just a seagull.
Yeah.
And on top of that, on the right hand side, you can see that there's all the people that came along. And when we investigate, everyone wears an audio log. So throughout the night, if we want to find out what Dave was doing at some particular point, we can, that sounds kind of creepy, we
Yes.
can go to that point and listen to what he was doing. Meaning, if we're in, say, A wing, and we know that Dave's in B wing, and we hear a door slam from B wing, we can then later on go to Dave's recorder and see if it was him moving or not.
That it worked in our favour, didn't it? Because you sent me through the audio of we were in the chapel, so whether just in the kitchen and chapel, we were in there, and we were just doing some calling out, and all of a sudden I heard the B team. Yeah, but I heard the B team. They should have been in C wing, so quite far away from the chapel, as you can see, and I heard people talking. I thought there was either the other group or paranormal.
Yeah.
But by the time I'd left the chapel and got into A wing, there was no one there. So actually, then we put it down there. Actually, this could be paranormal.
Exactly, you came back and said, I've just heard some people, and there's no one there
Yeah,
at all.
there's no one down. I clearly heard talking, but actually there wasn't. But we're having the B team with audio recorders on. We were able to track their footsteps and where they were, and actually they did leave A wing.
Yeah, they were going from A wing and then going towards C wing, but as they were moving that way, they came near to the chapel, and therefore then Dan heard them talking as they were walking.
So we went from having a piece of evidence saying we captured chattering or the prisoners chattering or whatever, to actually it was just a group moving from A to B.
Yeah.
So it works in both our favours. So that was real good for that. So
Yeah, and that's a big part of why we try and debunk in that way, because it's very easy sometimes, like in that experience, if we didn't have that control to say, actually that probably is just the other team moving, I'll forget about it.
Yeah.
But being able to check to see if it really was the other team means that we can sometimes get audio, which is amazing.
Yeah.
For example, the block,
Yeah.
where we
Yeah.
where we were in this building. It was Burton upon Trent,
Yes.
an old brewery house, and myself and Beth were in this room at the top of the building, and we started hearing this really old-timey music. So a lot of it happened, and then what we did later was go back to the external footage, because we thought that music's probably coming from outside, car going past, grab my phone out the window,
Yeah.
and we checked, and there was nothing outside. Then we had all the recorder outside the room, and then outside the next group, and we could be able to say that that audio came from inside the room we were in, and we would have ignored that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would have said that's a car.
Especially if you start saying, someone says, right, that sounds like a car going past, you have to rule it out because you cannot. But the way we investigate, the way we set up, we've got that covered. So actually, sometimes you're able, if we might be on 6 or 7 different floors, we're able to pinpoint what floor it's on, what room it came from, and then if you trace back the room, I mean, we've caught one, maybe somewhere around here, but we caught an EVP before, or somewhere, one venue where actually when we look back into it, it would have been the recreational room, so it was a bit of a more jovial and chatting, and we were able to sort of trace that back. So this is Gloucester Prison, and this is what we did. So we wanted to share with you, what we sort of got on the night. There are things in here that, as a team, we're not sure about, different lights and sounds and so on, but we've got some videos to show you now. And then what we would like to do is show you the video and then give you a chance to comment, give us your view on what you think it is, see what you think, just give us your view on what we found, and then we'll discuss it as a team as well.
Maybe we should start with one of those, one of the ones that we've all looked at and gone, not entirely sure what that is.
The light then?
Yes, so, you mean the light which we didn't catch? I thought we did.
No, the one we did catch,
Okay.
that weird one.
Okay, so could we play number 4, please? Errol. So what you're seeing here is we're in the C block.
Was that something funny we done?
And about 10 seconds in, you'll be able to see there's a lot of dust in there. So we look at some of these little specks. And based on experience, we know that if it's slightly translucent, then it's dust. But that weird line is so this little line shot past I don't slow it down.
Do we not?
Cool, yeah.
Cool.
Let's see it in slow motion. So we've watched this a few times, and I think everyone's got maybe some ideas about it, but I thought we'd bring this today just to see what other people think about it, see if they've experienced something similar or they've caught something similar.
It's dusty.
It is dusty. The dust is not
Sweet there, almost.
As well. Watch it come past you, and you
Yeah.
sort of follow it. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're looking
It's
at
like
it.
you looked at it then.
Like something that's caught my...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I found was but it's the bit at the end we're more interested in. We're more interested in your thoughts about. So it's a different shape. It's a larger
And
shape.
it travels down the
Yeah,
corridor.
Yeah.
Michael gets out the way of it, interestingly.
We have even said about what watch Michael was wearing. Was it a
Oh,
reflection? But
we try to debunk everything, didn't we?
The nice thing is everyone's pretty still at that point, as it's coming up fairly soon, I think.
Yeah.
There we go.
here we go. So very interested.
Where
in
do
your
we
thoughts.
think that comes from? Does that disappear or does that come out one of the
It
cells?
looks like it comes out the right-hand side cell, which is actually activity that's been caught
Yeah.
from the guy that used to run the events there, from the experience that we've had as well. So
So do you think it came from the one nearest to where you're kneeling?
no, I think it's the one just after.
The middle one?
Yeah, I think it come out of there. But we chatted about orbs a little bit last week, didn't we? And what we thought of it.
We did.
What do
And
you
some of them
reckon,
you can look at and understand what it could be, but
It's just the shape of it, isn't it?
it's the shape of it. And also, if you remember, it comes from down the corridor and it's smaller. And as it's coming towards the camera, it's getting bigger and
But
brighter.
also that's of a size that should really be seen.
Yeah.
It should be
Yeah.
seen in real time by the naked eye.
So that's our first piece of footage. Like I say, it's almost like you sent something there. It doesn't look like and that's what like last week we talked about dust and orbs and coloured orbs and
Bugs.
faces of Richard. Cobweb, a definite. Commenting again. So
Yeah.
Beth thinks it's a cobweb. Yeah, like I say, we're up for the debate. So we're not sitting here going, "This is paranormal. It's a ghost." We're not going to be swayed.
No.
These
at all.
are clips that we wanted your views on and what you
And,
saw.
and to be fair, thinking about it, I think most of us felt cobwebs during that night.
Yes, yeah, it was because I walked in a few times where I sort of moved it away, thinking I'd walked into like that sort of cobwebby effect. But
I didn't, but then I just made sure I was walking behind you.
there we go. So I walked through most of them.
Pushing into the cobwebs.
But yeah, it was certainly the corridor we're in. It was the most active part. We were having temperature spikes. Dave, who was filming the other way at the time, saw a figure move from right to left. We also, we saw well, we've got the hiss and stuff in a minute. Actually, we're going to be talking about it, but we've got yeah, we saw flashes of light, didn't we? And
Well, the weird light we saw, that's why I was trying to ascertain which cell door that came from, because you and me both saw, and it's certainly something I've never seen like this before, and I don't think you have. It was a vertical light, and it was probably, well, 3 foot,
yeah,
I suppose, and it was a very bright but narrow light that got ever so slightly fatter in the middle. Now, you and me saw that in real time.
yeah.
We both noticed it. We thought it was just a light that was there. We didn't see it generate any light.
No.
But you guys saw it reflect off us.
Well, so Mark and I saw it more kind of coming down the door wall and across the floor a little bit. So we both saw it kind of actually in the environment.
The interesting thing about that area as well is Joel, who used to run the events there, was painting one day, and he said from that very cell, from those cells on the right hand side, he saw a man step out. Yeah, he saw a man step out. Our first investigation there, myself, John, Mark, and Michael. Yeah, Mark and Michael were investigating in there, and Mark had his kinetic camera, and at that time he never had the recording facility on it. And in the same cell that Joel saw, a figure appeared just in the doorway, and then stepped back. It came out. We got the stick figure, and went back in again, and that was the first investigation. We went there a couple of years later, and then you said you saw someone, didn't you, stepping out?
Yeah,
was
so
it you first. It was Mark
No.
Irwood, wasn't it?
Mark saw someone, and I saw. Well, what I saw was a darker patch, like an elbow coming out from the door, and then I was turning to face it, and then it went like that, came back in again.
So Claire said, I think it was a cobweb. It might have been more trout. The thing is, we're never going to know, are we?
See, I don't know if cobwebs can just fly around or not.
I mean, I think
in a straight line.
if at some
straight
point
line?
we can
Without
take
going
that
down?
footage,
Yeah.
Andy, and maybe zoom in a bit. If we can do that, then we may get more of a
That's an interesting idea.
perspective
Yeah.
on its form, because we touched on it last week briefly about some lights we see, some orbs have structure to them, have a form. So if, you know,
Yeah.
maybe we can do that.
It didn't look uniform, did it? It didn't look like it was just a straight bar.
No.
We can jump on that for us as well and zoom in. But yeah, so yeah, interesting thoughts. You've not helped us at home, guys. I thought you were going to come up and say, right, it's definitely this. But
No, we still don't know what it is.
okay, so yeah, so Rich is going to play it again, and we're going to zoom in now. Do it now.
That sounds good. Why not?
So
We're going to see this.
Tell him to pause it then. So Claire, we're going to we'll take your advice, Mark, and zoom in.
See that light on Dan's back? That I think actually is Michael's torch.
Yes.
Or sorry, camera maybe.
Yeah.
If it's gone into standby, which I think it has, there wouldn't be a light on it at all.
Because then went on the wall as well when you moved.
Wow.
Well, it might be reflecting off
Yeah, could be.
something else.
Oh, I really want to see this zoomed in now. Right, I'll tell you when to stop, Richard.
It
Here
has
he
got,
goes.
metally bits on there, so
Yeah.
it will reflect.
And I'm chucking a lot of IR down that corridor,
Yeah.
so it does bounce off a lot of things. Nice little squat.
Okay.
Actually, did you see the light move across the floor? Do you think that was your torch, Dan?
Don't know. I'm
There's,
very
there's been a
ready to-
few of
No.
those.
Keep it coming a little bit more. It goes. Stop. So, do you reckon there?
That looks nice
I
and
think
bright.
it changes a bit more, a little bit further down. If we can go a touch more.
Go one more. Can we go like one more? Don't know.
See, that looks different to what it does when you see it.
It's brighter at the bottom and lighter at the top.
To be fair, we've just seen a lot of dust, and
Yeah.
it doesn't look like that.
Is it not? Can't zoom in, I don't think.
No.
So we are going to try and zoom in, guys, see whether there's anything.
And we're gonna. This is kind of like world premiere footage of this, but in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to put this on YouTube on our channel,
Yeah.
and I'll do a thing about zooming into that.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
I'll check our channel and
I'm
you'll
not
be able to see
sure
it zoomed
that came
in.
from out that cell. But it's at that door, but in the corridor.
Do you think I'm the one in front of me then?
Well, it's sort of next to the cell, but I don't think it comes
there you
out
go.
of the cell.
So let's go back. This is going to be a great shot of windows. Oh, sorry. That scared me then.
What was that?
What a good looking bunch of people.
Yeah, all in that corridor.
We were all in that corridor, weren't we?
Yeah, we were on that corridor actually. Yeah, you're right. Good point.
So guys, while we're getting that, feel free to keep liking and sharing.
But
yeah,
I
try and get
kind
as
of,
much followers as
you know,
possible.
when they were saying, oh, cobweb,
Yeah.
I could sort of see what they meant.
Yeah.
But having
Yeah.
seen that again slowed down,
Mm.
it's rectangular.
Yeah.
it looks now. So it's kind of
But like Andy touched on, will a cobweb have that sort of...
Would it fly down a corridor
Yeah.
without going down? That's the
Yeah.
good question.
Because there wasn't a massive breeze coming down that
yeah.
corridor
There we
at all,
go,
was
look
there?
No. No, there really wasn't. It wasn't that windy at all down.
That might be the frame.
There we go. Oh man, look at that. You still saying it's dust, Richard? What do you think? Look at how big it is compared to the team leader box as well.
And there's other dust. Is that other dust in frame as well? There's a bit to the left.
What do you reckon?
well. That's the thing. There's a few on that whole piece of footage. There's a few bright white spots.
Mm.
And it actually seem grouped together in threes, something
yes,
like that.
yeah.
You know, so this is totally different from anything else that we're seeing.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it does also seem to be moving like with a purpose down that corridor, where
Yeah,
the
that's-
dust is just kind of just all over the shop.
I'm not a massive fan of orbs, but
No.
seeing the way that
You know what's
moves-
nice? It's not an orb. It's a,
Well, no.
it's a
The
string.
light anomaly.
Yeah, light anomaly. But we
Yeah.
didn't see, so...
So guys, interested to see your thoughts at home. Like I say, it will be a YouTube video, so if you want to take some time to digest and not sort of throw your hat into the ring in terms of what you think it is. Like I say, there's a big shout for dust. We're in a corridor, a closed prison cell. We are in that environment. However, it just really sticks out. The shape of it, the movement of it. You know, we can see the dust going all different directions. This had, see, dare I say it? It seemed like it had a purpose. It seemed
Did
like
they have a shadow? If that
Don't make him go
disappears,
back again.
no, before it disappears, did that have a shadow?
No, I don't know.
No, it's-
Is it really odd that it just disappears too?
no, I
Does
think
it
that's just fine. Here you go.
It looks like
A bit more.
Okay.
It's as it goes through past that cell door, it looked like it had a
Dust
black,
shadow.
Or-
black mass behind it.
Or maybe that's like lens flare because it's
Yeah.
so bright.
Yeah, but what I noticed was it went past the cell door.
Yeah.
It had the blackness to it behind, like
Okay.
a shadow.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, that's interesting because I
And
mean,
then if it did have a shadow, it's got to be a whole object. So then did that put it into the bug category? Playing devil's advocate.
yeah, it would be something that's blocking the eye of light, so
Yeah.
therefore it has a shadow behind it.
So I'm hoping it doesn't have a shadow. I'm hoping
Yeah,
you're
but
wrong.
if the
Martin.
shadow. Yeah. No, I don't know.
I think
Cool.
there's something that you could just talk
Yeah,
about
we could
forever.
talk about that. So that's our first video. Really interesting to see what your thoughts were on that. Intelligent energy. Well, Dave, on that point, we channeled all our energy down that way. We were calling out, and I'll be honest with you, we're not a big fan of the whole antagonistic and being rude, but we were in a wing where it was predominantly the worst type of prisoner, and in there they said there was murders and rapists and paedophiles. It was that sort of wing.
it
When you
was.
look at the history of it, it was a dark wing. So we went down the route of saying, what were you doing in here?
Yes,
were
yeah,
you innocent?
very,
were you
very,
this?
very possibly clear.
I think it's
it's
too
very-
dark to be dust. Yeah,
It's a very
I
straight
agree with
line.
yeah, I agree.
And it's a straight line that's come
in
down,
the corridor
I don't know,
between two cells.
5
Okay.
or 6 metres down the corridor
Yeah.
without going down or changing
Right.
direction or anything.
So is the light reflecting off something? Don't know.
To cause that.
I don't know.
Nah.
Yeah, but the light.
Go on then. So
Yeah.
I'd like to say cobweb, but on the other hand, surely cobweb would also swirl and spin due to how the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, are you siding with us a little bit, Nick? I quite like this new Nick Grimshaw.
Nick says orb, so that's good.
I would have 100% would have thought you would have said cobweb, and I would have thought your first. I'd like to say it was a cobweb, but it's odd. It's certainly odd. We're not sure what it is, and we'll do some more investigation before we.
And,
put
and
the
that's
video
kind of what we do. We don't like to jump to
Yeah.
that sort of conclusion. We like to put it amongst the group, and now we get to share it out as well.
Yeah,
Find out
so
what
going
other
back to
people
what Dave said about intelligence, so we set ourselves up with there, and I was doing a lot of the talking and calling out, and sort of saying, shock, but sort of saying like, you know, did you deserve to be in here? Did you die? Did you get put to death? And actually, I changed tack, didn't I? And sort of went down. And you see me sort of get onto my knees, and I'm. I don't know where I'm going with this. You see me sort of crouch down to a lower level, and just sort of say, listen, did you really belong in here? Were you put in here? Was it wrong? Can you make yourself? No, I went down that route rather than every other ghost hunter would have gone in there. You're this, you're a paedophile, you're this, you're that. Actually, I went down and tried to be a bit more tactful, and it's when we started to get more activity. We saw the lights, we had the millimeter go off, didn't we? Got my knees in the paedophile, so brilliant. And then we caught that. So yeah, interesting. So Annie said, I saw a square block of light at Draco Tunnel with no explanation as to what it was.
Andy, did you see that in real time, or you caught that on your camera?
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
I'm guessing you've caught it on camera.
Yeah.
It's similar to what we've just seen.
Drake was a good one for us.
Drake,
wasn't it?
yeah, Drakelow was pretty impressive as well.
Well, that was another one. Did we not? That was another one. I thought I heard your. I thought I heard your voice. Do you think you heard mine?
Oh, yeah, that does something about actually.
We were walking around doing the opening.
It was,
and
yeah,
I
it was-
responded to you, didn't I?
It was you thought someone from the group was asking you just
Yeah.
like a question because you were basically showing people around.
That's it.
And you stopped and said, "So what do you want?"
And you were the closest person to it, and you,
Yeah.
you didn't say anything. Yeah, so that was interesting. Draco was a good one.
And
We've got a good
and we
video
got
on
it on
YouTube
audio.
of that. Yeah. Cool. So that was the first one. So Annie, when you come back with your questions, so you've not helped us on that. I'm hoping someone's going to come on and go, categorically, this is this. But it's why we do it. It's why we love it. And like I say, we don't just get a piece of evidence going, that's paranormal. We're procrastinating over it for the next 2-3 weeks
So
to make a
We
video
also have a
about it.
split decision as well. Like some of us think it's paranormal, some of us
Look
think
at
it's
Beth, come
loads
straight
of
on,
rubbish.
cobweb, you know.
Cobweb, yeah.
And whereas people be a bit more, people are sort of sitting on the fence, I don't know. I don't get it, but it's certainly.
Are you, Nick? Wow.
Go on, Nick.
Good man.
Good to hear.
I love it, Nick. Good man. It's a real time in our own eyes. That's the
Oh,
ghost of
wow.
it.
Wow.
Well, that's
be able to make
because
out a
none
shape.
of us saw that, I don't think,
No.
in real time. So
No one saw that one, but it was
We
the
did see
day
it, yeah.
before that several people did see a light,
Yeah.
but not that one.
And we have done it, the secret location as well. A few times we've seen lights.
Yeah, we started to go through a bit of a stage, didn't we, of seeing lights the last couple of times.
That's a good point.
walking
Dave.
away from Dan.
Dave, I get a lot of people
Yeah.
walking away from my question, mate. So yeah, they're in good company. Yeah, do you know what? Like I said, we started being a bit challenging. So maybe it was someone not. I'm not hanging around with these idiots if they're going to speak to me like that. Maybe it was. Maybe it was someone walking away from us. But yeah, who
Yeah,
knows? We
yes.
definitely do a bit more investigation.
Could
on
even
that,
be
so
an old prison guard still patrolling.
be.
We just don't know.
not interested in us, not interacting, walking
But I'm really pleased it's got your, you
through. Yeah.
you're involved and you've got your opinions on it, and yeah, keep coming.
Should we do the next one?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned it earlier, which was you were both, Michael and Dan, squatting in the corridor, doing the calling out, and you thought you heard, I think you thought you had a static noise,
Yes.
and Michael thought you had a hiss. But if we could, if we play track 3, clip 3, it's quite early in, it's only 3 seconds in, and I'll let people decide what they can hear there, but there's definitely something there that's fairly reasonably loud. Now this comes from Dan's audio recorder, so this was quite close to where Dan was sitting. When we listened to the audio that was just further down the corridor, wasn't there at all. So whatever it was,
It's close to us.
was right between you and Michael.
Nothing.
No.
Was that number 2?
What number? What would you want? Number 3.
Yeah, 3. Yeah. Okay.
Is this number 3? Yeah.
I think it should be.
Okay. So did you hear? Can you hear? I don't know whether they can hear it. Oh, we're not hearing it here, so there's no audio on it, no?
There is, not here.
Okay.
I'll play it again. Play through here.
Okay. Like a static either. What do you remember? Do you remember the hiss?
Yeah, I've got an EVP of it,
Okay.
and it is just a hiss, but it's quite an aggressive hiss. It's
Yeah, I heard when I heard it, it sounded kind of almost a little bit growly.
But thinking back, did the seagulls go quiet after that?
Yeah,
Because
maybe. I didn't
the
hear
seagulls
it.
were making a lot of noise, and given that the seagulls were making a lot of noise, to have heard that over them, I mean, it was loud, and it was literally just a.
But we were struggling all night with seagulls, weren't we? So
Yeah.
you couldn't be forgiven for having your attention taken by them. But so I didn't hear it. But
I mean, there may well be an ornithologist watching this now and say, "Oh no, seagulls will do that. They will make that noise." I mean,
But the weird thing is, the audio wasn't outside. So
No,
we checked
it's
the outside,
inside, so-
we checked everyone else, and
Came from that prison wing.
it came from right in front of
it
Michael
wasn't.
Down.
Yeah, it wasn't on the recorder. Wait, was it? So
No, it
came
wasn't on
from us.
Mark's. And Mark, you can see
And-
Mark standing behind you.
And given, I mean, we wonder sometimes why we get whistles and hisses and things, but given that a spirit hasn't got the mechanics to, you know, push air through its lungs and pass its vocal cords and that, to be able to make any noise at all is impressive. So, you might want Get Out, something like that, but actually, just to be able to hiss is.
Yeah, and think about as well, think about sound. If you play some music loudly through a dodgy speaker, it clips off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You just hear like static pretty much. You hear just bits of sound. So if someone was trying to talk to you and it didn't have all the frequencies, then you wouldn't hear it clearly.
So Shelley's saying she thought she saw a spirit. Seagulls didn't hiss like that. So we were hoping.
They make every other noise under the sun.
So Shelley said she thought she saw a spirit in the front of the door. In the last video, you thought you saw something there, did you? We were too busy talking about the hiss.
We're trying to listen to this, aren't we?
Yeah.
This is what we. Yeah. This is sort of what we were hoping people would see. So maybe there's something we've missed.
No, I don't believe. I mean, I live on the sea, near the sea, surrounded by seagulls, and I've never heard a seagull hiss.
No.
But this is what we do. We throw them possibilities out there, and I did actually go on the web and try and find out if birds did make those sort of noises, and no, couldn't find anything. But
Did you hear it at home? Did you hear it in the audio kit or the kit we just played you? Because obviously we didn't hear it there, but you can hear it from there. That's really cool. So we've actually had a hiss. I had a hiss in my ear when we went over to Italy when we were on the island and wandering around, and we were walking through. We were quite lost, and it was getting dusk, and it was the light was low, and all of a sudden, cool, thank you. We had a sort of had a hiss in my ear, and it completely freaked me out, completely unnerved me.
Yeah, you were
I felt
frightened
because
by
we
it,
were
weren't you?
because we were walking through where people haven't walked before, and there was spider with like big spiders, weren't there? And they were told there were scorpions and stuff like that. So to have the hiss in my ear, I thought it was on me. I took my hoodie off. I completely freaked. But so Shelley said she saw what she saw. So we'll make a bit of a note of that because we've got a few more videos we want to get through. So you thought you saw a shadow or a figure in the doorway of the last video. Okay, so there's a few doorways, but we'll make a note of there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Second vid.
If you could maybe just describe what you're seeing as well.
Yeah, we can go back, all the comments you're doing, we can go back and see. So please feel free to comment about where you saw or what you saw, and we'll go back over, and we can also respond. We'll do some sort of watch parties and watch them again, and if you're on, then you can watch them with us and
it's
stuff.
quite prolonged as well. That hiss.
Was it?
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was
No, it was
over a period of
definitely
maybe. It doesn't sound long, but maybe 1.5, 2 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
Which for any noise, sound is quite prolonged.
Cool. So then, what are we going to do next?
So, should we try another audio one?
Let's try. Yeah, but we're not about to hear it. So
No,
yeah,
okay.
we were there. So
Right. So let's do number one, if you'd be so kind, Richard.
is this far? Is it to give someone a pointer? Will they hear it straight away, or?
So, this is one we actually picked up when we were looking for the footage for this for tonight. Weirdly, that we hadn't heard before. So for me, that's an EVP. And once we watch the footage, we can hear it about 4 seconds in, and I can hear 2 syllables,
Okay.
Okay.
but no one else hears anything while we're there. No one calls it out.
Might get there.
I'm going to turn off the lights now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Exactly what it was.
Yeah. I had that.
Yeah, it was a hiss. It was a hiss, like.
So we were discussing about the hiss or what we heard, and then
Yeah, well, it's actually slightly before you say that. So it's the thing, the two words, then you start talking about the hiss.
so people have watched it at home. Are we going to? Do you have an idea what you think those two words are?
Well, how about we see if a few people will come
It'd
up
be
with...
lovely for someone to say it. We think it says this or this or.
Yeah, it'd be
Okay.
interesting.
Because I don't think I think I was. Yeah, I just.
Because you've not, I
I've
think you've
not
already
heard
heard
it
that
yet.
yet.
No.
And
So, is it the case that spirits find it easy to project light forms and sound more than natural manifestation? Wow, who knows?
yeah,
Um,
one of them, and
I mean,
obviously
then you're going down to, I imagine, how much energy it's going to take to do those things. An actual manifestation, I mean, that's extreme levels of energy needed to do that, to be capable of that. And, some spirits are going to be stronger than others, I imagine. It's going to be easier
I would say so.
to project lights and sounds because it's not going to, I imagine, it's not going to take so much energy.
There's more cases of sound and
Yeah.
lights, isn't there, than there is of full manifestation. Certainly
And-
caught on video. So, yeah.
And a lot of it is to get our attention. So, if they put all that energy into get into a manifestation, we could still miss it. But a light and a sound, there's more chance that's going to get noticed. So that's going to be a better use of energy than a possible manifestation.
I think you
I would
see
think.
also with lights and sounds can be more intelligent as well because you're asking for it to happen or they almost want to make themselves known. Whereas I wonder how many actual manifestations don't get seen because they're not doing it. They're not almost unless they're doing it for you and they're appearing in front of you.
Yeah.
We hear a sound, we see a light, but actually, how many do we miss? Or how many do we just pass off as? Oh, that's just Andy going for a coffee or Lee going
It's
for a wee.
the same
you know?
during the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see someone walk past the doorway, you just think of someone walking past the doorway.
Definitely.
You wouldn't think anything else, would you? So
and most of the times you have the stories and the claims from a place, they're talking about a blue lady walks down the stairs or a nun who seems to be walking through a grounds and there's no door there, etc. And those seem a little bit more residual. Like
Yeah.
they don't really matter that you're there or not. Whereas when, as I say, with the sounds and the light, they tend to be a little more responsive. And I would say shadows as well.
Yeah.
So when we've had shadows, they've been a bit more in the intelligent camp than the residual camp.
Definitely. So, no one's really commented about the EVP then.
No,
so
maybe no one heard
I'd be
it.
interested if whether people heard it or whether they're sort of sitting on the fence in terms of what they think it says, but no one sort of come back and said they heard it. It'd be interesting. Well, like I say, we're going to put it into a YouTube video, won't we? So we're,
Yeah, so 2 weeks'
go back
time
and have a listen
on our
through.
channel.
Yeah, we're trying to sort of release them in space, so we're not sort of bombarding the YouTube with them anyway. But yeah, there'll be links either through our Facebook or on our YouTube account as well. But are you going to share with them what you think it says, or
Is that going to spoil it though?
nah? I'm
So-
pushing you to do it.
Yeah, okay. So it sounded like when Mary and I were first listening through to it, it sounded like it was like a do it or something like that.
Okay.
But when I started clearing up and then jumped, I think it was more Michael's audio recorder. No, actually, no, it was the audio recorder on the floor. Because we had an audio recorder on the floor that was kind of recording the area, and yours were slightly back. To me, that sounds like a really clear "help me." I know that's a very
Well,
stereotypical thing.
do you know what the? Can you recall what the? What probably Dan was saying at the time.
Yeah, do you know what the conversation was
Was it
around?
Was it
or-
relevant to
It was.
that? Or?
It was just between the point where you heard the static noise and you started talking about it, and then you cover it again a little bit later, and so you're still talking about that growl, static, hiss noise.
So it's almost like a hiss of help me, or
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
So that hiss then, you could say was not meant for us anyway.
No.
Maybe
Could that have
was
been a build-up? Could it have been a?
maybe that was an interaction between spirits ourselves. Maybe
or
we-
part
we
of the
just don't know.
same
Cool.
same residual audio recording. It could have been something happening, and then a call.
So Julie said she couldn't hear anything. So
It'll
know.
it'll be on the website and YouTube channel.
But let's go back.
so-
You know, I mean, what we don't want to try and do is like you sort of see quite a lot of these TV programs that will play it and then put some audio and it's not clear. If it's not clear to us, if we go back and we find out it will not go on our site. So this is what we're sort of bringing you sort of first-hand footage really before we've made a definite decision about it or whether we've cleared up. Not everything gets onto our YouTube site. We'd rather have videos on there that that we sort of think.
There'll be no subtitles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We're
and
not. We're not.
And I don't normally share what I think I've heard
Oh, no, I
is
appreciate
until
that. Sorry
until
about
Dan pressures me to do it.
Sorry, but because I've not heard it, I want to see whether people actually listen to it. Actually, do you know what? I don't hear that, but now I hear the syllables. I hear it, but that's cool. Anyway, that's all. So what's going to move on to next then?
So last bit of audio from C Block, and I guarantee people will hear this one, thankfully. So if we could do number 5 at all, thank you, Richard. So in this one, everyone's left me and Mark alone in C Block just to investigate it. In fact, everyone decided to go off. They wanted to go check out another place. We've kind of come to the point where we wanted to move on, but I wanted to just listen to the place with kind of without much calling out. We were just kind of hanging around and trying to listen to what it sounded like naturally because we had so many things going on in there. So you'll see us standing there for a while, but then what we're hearing about 7 seconds into the clip is quite loud, and you've got to bear in mind that we've checked the audio of the other half of the team and the building they go into. Mark and I are the only people in the whole of C Block, and you saw from the map before that's completely isolated from everywhere else.
Yeah, there's nothing adjoining. So
There's nothing joining it. There's no one anywhere near it.
this place.
Steps on metal. So with earphones on, I counted it, and hopefully people at home had it as well. You really clearly heard someone walking along what sounded like a metal grid, like if you're in a prison and you were walking down the sort of the catwalk. And once counting it, I counted 7 very clear metal footsteps on metal in that piece of footage. So I'm interested to see if people heard the same thing. But after that point, when we heard that, we tried to call out to it still. We didn't try and run off too much. And after that, then worked out where that noise could come from. So we went up to the end of the one corridor, and there was a metal stairway down that side.
Yeah.
And the other way, there wasn't a metal stairway, but there was a ladder going to the ceiling. And both of those things sounded similar to those noises. Yet the audio recorder we had, that noise was coming from the corridor. It wasn't coming from the stairway. We had recorded downstairs. It wasn't coming from there. That noise of the metal footsteps, which start off really loud, and then I'd say going away, came from inside the corridor.
So the stairwell that had the metal grates was locked at the bottom, so we didn't have access to even walk that way. If we
Oh, that's
wanted to.
interesting.
So we could walk the stairwell, but you couldn't. It's when we got to the bottom because we did it.
We
didn't
found
we?
it early on, didn't we?
We went all the way
Yeah.
down. There's a groan at the beginning too as well.
That could have been me.
May have been Andy. That's grown quite a bit. But what we'd also say about that is you need to again listen to these because you can hear this. You can hear what is a scream, but it's clearly seagulls. So
Yeah, there's a lot.
there's a lot of noise disturbance. But
I'll certainly go back to that and take a listen.
so you thought, yeah. So it's interesting. Me and Lee walked those stairs, and we weren't able. You knew we were in the other building by listening to our voice recorders anyway.
But at the time, we thought you were coming back. Because
interesting.
it sounded just like someone walking towards us.
The prison wing we were in as well. Like, if we'd gone into A wing or the main A and B, they had the metal stairs and the metal grates you'd walk on, whereas the wing we were in was old, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was old in the other.
It doesn't really
two
make
wings.
too much sense being in there unless it was down the sort of fire escapey bit or up the ladder to the roof. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd got those 7 steps. Okay. So Lauren thought she heard "Get Out."
Lauren, would you be able to say if it was at what sort of point in the clip that was, and we can then check that out later as well?
Yeah, let us know whether it's the beginning or the end or halfway through, and then we can get back listening to that and see what that comes back. I mean, we're sort of focusing at the early stages on the footsteps because we knew clearly when no one else was in there. But yeah, if we're seeing shadow or we're seeing the different bits, then certainly a get out would be amazing. It would be really good. Certainly in terms of where we were and the sort of type of inmate that would have been there. But
Yeah.
interesting.
It
So I don't
certainly
know if there's
was.
any more comments on that or anyone else is saying anything, but yeah. There we go. So, do you ever feel wrong for doing these investigations as it feels like you're disturbing spirits? I used to love going on paranormal investigations until the last few I attended, which made me feel I was doing something wrong. I would say no, and I would say if you ever had the chance to come with us, we would hope that you would see the reason why we feel that way. We are completely respectful, so we don't come in and antagonise. We will always polite. It's a case of going really sort of letting the equipment down. So for instance, when we go into an investigation, so like the videos you've been watching, we would put all the equipment down. Then what we would do is we would then explain the equipment. So every piece of equipment would be explained. We'd explain our reason for being there. We're hoping we're not going to disturb. We're not going to sort of treat them like performing monkeys. Do this, bang this, swear at this, tell me to get out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
We're trying to sort of treat them or treat the spirits how we'd like to be treated ourselves. We always give the philosophy, always give the explanation. You wouldn't walk into a pub and behave like an idiot and expect a really good reaction, or a venue or a party. You behave like that, you get treated like that, you probably get a punch on the nose and kicked out. So when we go into a venue, it's completely respectful. We do a lot of history research, so like we will history research. Well,
Yeah.
Andy
does a lot of history
but we go sort of forewarned and forearmed, I guess, with who would have lived there, why they would have lived there, understanding a little bit about the history, what would have been there before, what sort of things gone on there.
Try and get a backstory, don't we?
And try and get a backstory. So we try and approach it in a different way. I get it. Thank you. Yeah, I do completely get it. I get it. You feel like you're disturbing, or you feel like you're just another one of those groups going in. But we try a different approach. And
I mean, I think we get a lot more from that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that if we go in there with a bit of compassion and a bit of interest.
And
Excellent.
another thing as well, I mean, we do go there respectfully. We're not there, and we do make these points when we're calling out to the spirits. We are being respectful. We're not there, even doing prisons and even doing like Sea Wing there, where there's some, really terrible characters would have been in there. We're not there to judge. That's not what we're there for. They've been judged in life. That's no longer what we're looking for. We're not there to judge them. And actually, we do make a point of saying, it's your choice. It's your choice to come forward
We're in
and
your
speak
hands,
to us.
don't we? We say
Yeah.
that,
So
yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I think we try and be aware that we are visiting their environment, and we try and be sympathetic and show appropriate empathy and respectfulness to them. So
we always say, don't we? Like we're not
like
there
Dan
to
said,
judge.
it's when you pass over, you take your emotions with you. So if I'm not going to ask a question that I think is going to offend me, so yeah, I think we're quite aware of their feelings and their perceptions of us and what's going on.
And we're inviting them to come and step forward and talk to us. We're inviting them to, to participate. 9 times out of 10 we say we're not here to judge, to harm or to hurt you. None of the equipment that we're going to be using is there to capture you or to startle you. And we explain that to get an interaction, you need to touch the area, and it's not going to harm or hurt you. So we do a lot of that really. So Lauren sort of said, so when I'd call out, I always come to say with love and light and mean no harm. I've been clobbered by a spirit in a different way and have the experience. Okay. Do you find male spirits tend to pick on women more? Wow. Don't know really. We've actually had. I would say not. I would say not. For the way we approach it, we've actually have sometimes when we've had a few ladies on the team, we have sort of put a women's team together to see if they get a bit of a different response. But I think we're quite uniform in the way we behave as a team and the way we conduct ourselves. I feel that we go in there with that, trying to command that respect, that we expect that back.
Yeah, exactly. We expect that back as well. So I mean, if it's very much a choice for the spirit to decide how they want to communicate with us, how they want to get our attention on that, and if it is through touch, that's fine. But we ask you to be respectful.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we are going to instigate that, it's can you give us a tap on the shoulder, or are you able to make yourself known in that way? We're certainly not going to use a woman as a trigger object to try and pull something through. I guess
it's probably that approach that we take that kind of backs up the fact we haven't had many negative experiences, I would say.
No,
not really, no.
It's not something I can't even think of any time that something's been absolutely negative, or at least interpreted in that way.
We, I think in the very beginning, I mean, we've been going sort of 10, 12 years now. We do between 15 and 40 investigations a year, and we don't have any bad, many, if any, experiences where we've said someone's been hit by this, or someone's been pushed, or someone's been, okay, so yeah, we've been scratched, someone's done this, someone's done that. So,
I mean, some people have kind of, the evening's got to them, or the events have got to them, and they've become a bit scared and need to kind of take a break and go out. But that was never a physical thing.
Julie, okay. What's the weirdest thing a member of the public has asked a spirit? I once had a guy ask if there was marmalade in the afterlife. I love that.
I love
question.
that. And I don't mind that, because you think some places we go get investigated a lot, 2-3 times a week maybe, and part of it is trying to make yourself more approachable, more appealing than other people that go there. You're not asking for, oh, can you make a bang? Can you bang twice? Can you, So, yeah, I mean, that to me, that in my mind, if I ask that I think you could get a giggle out of that. We've had giggles on EVPs before, and that's the kind of thing. It's not what they're expecting. it's not doing anybody any harm.
And if you're going to come on an investigation with us, we do encourage. I think we do get lots of silly questions asked, because we do encourage you to get involved. As much as we joke about me loving the sound of my own voice, the nights on our events, it is your night, and we do encourage you to get involved as much as you can. We have lots of, don't we? Is there nobody here?
Yeah.
Julie, is there? Did you find out?
Yeah, that is
there
very
marmalade?
interesting.
Yeah. Did we get an answer to that, Julie? Is there marmalade? 'Cause if not, I'll take some with me.
I'm not a fan of marmalade, so I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm more of a jam fan, eh?
Yeah, I might carry some around with me just in case.
I mean, that is another emotion I presume you take over with you, is humour. So
Hopefully, yeah.
And I think we've definitely experienced that. We've definitely experienced something a bit jokey, an interesting response. Like music again, we were talking about that last week, but we've had a lot of responses to, say, music, where someone's been enjoying it and then reflecting that in what we've been seeing and hearing.
Laughter is an amazing energy build, like fear and people standing there worried and antagonising, just creates the wrong atmosphere. Laughter.
So, like you're saying about the pub analogy,
Yeah.
if you go in and you stand at the bar, you order a drink, you tell someone a joke, you've kind of got a friend, you've got a bit of an interaction going on there.
And we do that sort of thing as well. So keep the questions coming, guys, if you've got any more questions. So Julie sort of said Julie said that it sounded like there's metal scraping.
Yeah.
So that coincides with
Mary, one of our team leaders, who looks over a lot of this footage with us, for us, with Andy. Don't make any plans this
Interesting
week,
point.
because you've got a lot of watching and listening to this.
Yeah, yeah. So Marcus has said there, residual energy of an inmate banging on a bar window. Do you know what? We've not looked at that at all. And those, that's a great way thing. Look, we never even looked at that already, but we said it's footsteps. Could it have been someone?
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
That's why it's good to get an outside
It
opinion.
is great.
That's a great thing to do. Well done, Mark.
And what we try and do is we record what we'd like to do about that particular event the next time we go. So when we go armed with things we want to try, rather than just say that was a thing. So that's now on the to-do list.
So Lawrence, but in between, towards the end, was the EVP on? We were recording.
Oh,
all the
you're
way
asking, when... Excellent. So
Yeah.
look back on that then, can't we?
Yeah, the EVP was on. So okay, so we're saying it's towards the end. So we'll go back and listen to that. So the scraping, what we hear was out, and then also check out about the bars.
Yeah. We've got lots of things to do
That's
now, aren't we?
exactly what we wanted from it. That's exactly what we wanted from it. So brilliant. So Paul's comment last night about spooning was quite funny, wasn't it? But would you rather do a night solely relying on your senses, or relying on equipment? Been on many events with you guys and found them genuine and honest.
Brilliant.
Honestly,
Thank you,
Paul, that's such
Thank
an
you, Paul.
amazing thing to say. It's what we're about. Like I said, I've always said before, I'd rather you walk away going, that was crap, nothing happened, than was Dan faking it, or was Andy faking it, or Mark, or Michael, or whoever it was. So, yeah, we just try to bring that sort of genuine approach. Do you know what? I always say on investigations, the best pieces of equipment is yourself. But do you know what? We wouldn't be able to bring anything to you if we didn't have an element of equipment there as well.
Yeah.
So I sort of almost contradict myself a little bit. I went on an investigation last night and took a voice recorder, and that's, so I'm able to say, listen, we felt this and we saw this, but actually have a little listen to yourself as well.
Actually,
So,
last night's a good example as well, because you went upstairs,
yeah.
didn't have a camera. Imagine what could have happened upstairs and
I know.
you missed it.
Someone did comment.
I will always. I quite like to wander off on my own.
Yeah, you do,
And I will always take a voice recorder.
Yeah.
And that is, majority of the time, the only thing that I will go with is a voice recorder. And, do you know, I would suggest you do it because it's not a cumbersome thing to carry around with you. It's no problem to carry with you. It's not going to interfere with anything you do. But if you get something and you've missed it, you will be kicking yourselves.
So Dave, what do you guys think of paranormal shows like Most Haunted, Ghost Event, etc.? We watched Paranormal Lockdown about East Drive last night, and it definitely enhanced the atmosphere there. So that was something that I've not watched before. Paranormal shows, we can't thank Most Haunted enough because we still use them in terms of looking around locations and using their footage in terms of what we can investigate and where we want to go. The first 20 venues we investigated as Southern Ghost Society were all thanks to Most Haunted. I think, unfortunately, that unlike ourselves, they need to bring you activity. Like you say, you're going to pay for a ticket to come with us. And if it doesn't happen, I'm gutted. I'm gutted. And I walk away from it. I take it personally. But you know what? We've not faked it. Like I said, I'd rather you walk away thinking that was genuine and nothing happened.
These guys have to have some evidence to make it a show.
TV program, you know.
It'd be the worst program ever, wouldn't it? If they just every time got nothing.
Yeah.
They do, but sometimes it's worth watching just to get ideas of how the type of questions they ask, and how they go about things, because you can always learn. So I mean,
Ghost Adventures, we followed them to Portvilliers, didn't we? So we went to Portvilliers off the back of watching something like that. We look at the new. It's great. I think now we use them as reference tools now. So I don't know if I ever sit down to watch Most Haunted because I'm watching it. I'll go and check out the venue. We look at the American companies for the new equipment and the new techniques they use. Because you're always learning, and you go on to another investigation and think, I'm going to try it this way. I've evolved massively as an investigator, and I think these guys, as much as the question in there is, do I believe the shows? No, unfortunately, I don't. I find it really hard to stomach. However, we thank them for the new investigation techniques and the equipment they use and the different styles of people doing things.
But the thing is about that as well is, so we've just presented some evidence. We know it was just as it was. Untouched, that we were there and that's what happened. But if someone else looks at it, they go, well, I wasn't there, I couldn't quite believe it. If you had a full apparition, we were all there, we know it was good, and then someone else looks at it and go, oh, that's a little bit... No, you can't really ever believe someone else's footage. No.
We sat in East Drive last night, and Nick we were watching him sleep in there. He's asleep on the sofa, and the door, all you hear is clatter, and he wakes up, and then the door opens, right?
You were watching him sleeping?
No, on TV.
Okay.
On TV, sorry, yeah, we watched the show. And the biggest frustration with that is they're a TV company with multi-million pounds at their disposal in terms of cameras, and the door that opened wasn't in view. All you saw was it come into view. Now, we slept there and we recorded there, and we've got footage of us filming out and filming in. And we don't have an endless budget, and we've got cameras where we make do. But we managed last night to record that door inside and out. I just don't know why these shows don't do it, and everything happens off camera, and that's what I think is my biggest frustration. Guys, we are sort of running out a little bit of time now, so I'll part that question there, Dave, but it's controversial, and we're always a good subject we like talking about. We've got a couple more questions. So, I would love real concrete evidence of the afterlife. I think I have seen something, but always think maybe it's my imagination. This article on a mole in Florida in the restrooms. Okay. We'll always start our conversation with, I think I saw this, or when I was turning the catapult, or I think I saw a nurse. It wasn't because you just start doubting yourself. And we were chatting about it before. Richard Felix last week was saying, if your mum come home and said, I've just crashed my car, or I've just seen something, you'd go, oh bloody hell, is everything all right? If she come home and said, I've just seen a ghost, you'd still think, really? Did you really? But actually, because it's just having that evidence side of things, and you know how you feel.
Well, we wouldn't necessarily, but there is a stigma that would happen. That's why people don't speak up. And this is the thing: if it's somebody you trust with anything else, then trust them that they've seen something. Concrete evidence. When we've all seen apparitions. We can't say for sure whether they're spirit or residual. We've got our views on it. And we still wouldn't say we've got concrete evidence.
One man's concrete evidence, right, is another man's fake. And that's what was the thing you said last week about... I'm putting you on the spot now.
To the believer, no proof is necessary. To the non-believer, no proof is possible.
Love that statement. And like I say, I could say, I've got the Holy Grail, this great video for you, and someone listens to it and go, I don't know. I thought that was a seagull. And then totally, I obviously don't listen to them, but yeah.
I mean, what? I mean, you say you. What did you feel? How did you feel?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you feel that you saw? I think that will give you your answer. Concrete. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get that, but I'd say it's. Well,
And what is concrete
what
to you,
what do you
Julie, I
feel
guess?
you saw? You know.
What would you
Um,
need to see to make that concrete?
If it's
You know,
natural
you've
to
seen an
question,
apparition.
it's natural to. It's a natural thing to see something, and then because it disappears. And Andy, you'll know this. Your peripheral vision sees further into the light spectrum than your front vision.
A little bit, but also your brain fills in the gaps. You're actually missing
So
parts
if
of your
you
eyes,
see
so you're
something
actually filling
there,
some
when you
gaps.
turn, your vision is changing, so it will
It is
disappear.
changing from
So,
kind of
you know,
low res to a higher res.
So Julie's saying, yeah, I suppose, but going back to the last question, you need to think about what is your concrete evidence and find a way to capture that and find a way to tap into that and use equipment that's going to sort of try and
Really,
get
that's-
that
that's
evidence.
how
I'd be
I
interested to know if
started
that was your only experience, because I'd said last week that you know you will hopefully get to a point where you've seen enough and you feel that you can make informed judgment. So
Yeah.
I think to get concrete evidence off one event would be a big ask, but I think over time you can make that judgment. I mean, we'd all love a spirit to come up to us in full form and introduce themselves and
That's my marmalade.
Yes.
yeah, and yeah, but
So,
yeah.
Dave saying he totally agrees with us. Thank you, mate. Like I say, it is expensive reality. It has to be entertaining, and otherwise the ratings aren't going to be there, you know. So,
Kind of a little point I was thinking of we were talking
Go
about.
on.
That. You'll notice in a lot of ghost shows when they start off first season, you get quiet episodes. You
Yes.
get ones where they
Yeah.
go to a place and there's not much happening. And then as the seasons progress, you don't get those shows. So either they are going to a place and they just don't show that footage, which is a lot of expense to shoot an entire
Yeah.
show, or they're getting better at finding things that happen.
all the producers in their ear going, "You need to do this. You need to
Yeah,
we need
jump
to
around
start
the
getting
white
evidence,
sheet." Or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
We know what producers can be like. So there was one last question. I think it was, or one last about. That was it. Was it? Well, I think someone said about using paranormal equipment to see spirit guide, to speak to family and spirit guides. Listen, if you're ever around and we're investigating, you're welcome. There we go, Julie. Yeah. So I'm a spiritualist and use paranormal equipment. So we love that. You know, you use it. You know, you've got one belief in how you do things, and then you're using the equipment that we use to find. Come on one of our events. Show us what you do. We'd love to welcome you on and tap into your abilities. But I think we're nearly there at the end of the show now. No worries. So we've got so Paul, we're going to answer your question, but so what we're not going to do on this one here is go, because we're going to do paranormal shows. We're going to do location shows. So it might have been asked before. Is so top 3 locations. I don't want to know why. We're going to start with you, Andy.
Fort Ridley.
So that's 1. Top 3.
Oh, Preston Manor and Towers Hospital.
Towers Hospital. Go on, and Lee.
Galleries of Justice,
Yeah.
Port Villa,
Yeah.
and 30 East Drive.
Okay.
Bognor Pier Bar and Hotel, Northwood House, East Drive. Not necessarily in that order,
No.
because I'll change it tomorrow, the other way round.
Porvillia. No, I would say Porvillia. I would say the secret location we do. I think that some of that evidence is coming brilliant now, and I'm not going to go into it. Sorry. And Preston Manor. Preston Manor's a good one for me as well. So cool. So thanks everyone for tuning in, guys. It's been interesting. It's been another show, another good show, guys. We just want to sort of run through a few things with you. This is the Indeed Rose Trust. So SPTV are supporting a real sort of charity that's close to all our hearts. It's a children's
Real good
charity,
cause.
real good cause. They look after sort of local children that are, you know, that are quite poorly, you know. So, and they're not asking for much. They're not asking for a lot of money. Looking to raise around £300, but it's a local charity and it's for children. So they're looking to do a charity night for them as well. We're going to be donating as part of the team.
We are. We're
going
going to put some things together for them. So
Definitely.
literally after, they're not asking for a lot. They're asking for colouring pads, pens, simple things
Yeah.
that will mean a lot to them. And these are kids that are really ill. So yeah,
So
come
on
on,
Thursday,
guys.
the 6th of August.
It'd be amazing if you
8
can
PM.
help.
Yeah, any help. But there'll be links on in terms of donations and stuff like that. So on the SPTV channel, which we'll be sharing them as well on Facebook as well. So yeah, if you can support in any way, then that'd be brilliant.
And then so on tomorrow we've got the Ian Mason show. That's Monday from 12 p.m. So it's philosophy. So Ian will do a lot about philosophy and then do some readings as well. So tune in from 12 if you've got the time. So we've got Indigo Oracles, so Indigo Starseed, and that's from Monday at 3:45 p.m. on Spiritual Productions TV. And then we've got Matt and Kirsty, The Pathway to Your Spirituality. That's Monday. It's a real popular show, guys. Tune in and have a watch of those guys. That's Monday night from 8 p.m. But thank you everyone for tuning in. That's our second show. Like I said, we are going to try and bring guests. I'm emailing guests every single day, but like I said, we've got loads to bring to you. Loads of venues, loads of equipment, loads of equipment that you guys would have never been,
Thank you, Julie.
never seen
Thank
before
you
as
for
well.
that.
So, but remember, guys, it's your show. So comment, keep liking, keep sharing, and let us know what you want to see because we'll bring to you what we can. But it's been amazing chatting with you guys again, and yeah, hopefully see you in a couple of Sundays' time. But there we go. Mary's promoting the show, so thank you so much.
Mary.
We'll see you soon. Thank you ever so much, guys.
Cheers for watching.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.